Hello. So here I am. I'm back. It's been a couple days. Boy, have I got a story for you. So, my name's Jenny. I talk about random things that pop in my head. You do not have to agree with me, but if you decide to make a comment, I do ask that you keep it civil. I don't know what the weather's been like where y'all have been, but it has been raining here. And if you look, it looks like there's nothing behind me. I actually do have my cleaning supplies back there, but there's a reason why my car is empty. And I am sad to say, it's not because I had all this ambition and decided to take everything out of my car. About 3 days ago at 6:30 in the morning, there was a noise outside and a huge tree limb fell on my car. And it broke out the back window and cracked the front window. And boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, was that a way to wake up. So, I'm going to tell you a little story on how things come out of whatever, when things happen. So, of course, I had to take the tree limb off. That was a mess, and there was glass everywhere. You know how when you break car glass, it shatters into a million pieces, and it goes everywhere. So there was glass inside, which people who fixed my car were kind enough to clean that up because I didn't do that. But it was also all over the parking area outside my car. And, you know, it's kind of devastating when something falls on your car. Anyway, so I found a place that could take my car that day, and it only took them 2 days to fix it, and I thought they were reasonably priced. So I'm driving my car over there, wasn't that far from my house, and of course I got a huge crack in my windshield, but I could see, and the back of my car is wide open. Don't you know, a cop comes up behind me, and oh my gosh. So I had driven with my hazard lights on, you know, because my car was not technically supposed to be being driven. And this cop comes behind me. Well, I don't know if you can see your signals with your hazard lights on. So when I made the turn to turn into where the auto body place was, I put my hand out there and said, I'm turning left. And I figured if he's going to pull me over, he's going to pull me over in the parking lot here at this auto body shop. But he drove on. I had a feeling for a minute I was going to get questioned. But that didn't happen. So I went and I rented a car, and I went about my last couple days as usual working. And, you know, some other things happened this week, and it puts things into perspective. So the first thing that happened that I was aware of, I was talking to my daughter, and she was, you know, I had sent her pictures of what happened. Of course, you know, they're like, oh, Mommy, I hope you're okay. Well, I was okay because I was in bed when this happened. But she texted me back, and she said, my little grandson, bless his little heart, oh my gosh, I'm so blessed. When he found out, he says, oh, I've been led to pay for Grandma all week. I hope she's okay. I said, oh my gosh, he's so dear. A little boy, that little boy was praying for me. Oh my gosh, you know, how sweet is that? So that in itself, you know, when people care, when things are hard, it makes it easier. Not that I was a mess, you know, I wasn't happy about it, and it didn't cost me as much as I thought it was going to. But it was still, you know, one of those bad things that happen, and yet that little boy, you know, oh my gosh. So anyway, then I found out, I don't know if you guys heard about this, but there's a whole little town in Switzerland. The same day, this glacier had been melting, and it gave way, and this landslide came in and buried the whole town. And so it kind of puts things in perspective. I don't think anybody was hurt. I don't think anybody died from that, which is a miracle. So maybe, I think they might have known that this was going to happen or that they were in danger. I'm not sure, 100% sure about all that. But I did look to see if, please don't walk out. Okay. I did look to see if there were any fatalities, and the only thing I found was that one person was missing. So, but you know, thinking about, even though if they were prepared, I mean, I could have been prepared, I guess. I didn't know that the tree limb was going to fall, but there was no warning for me other than the trees are old and it was raining. But there's, you know, when you go through something bad, you might want to stop and think about, like, the perspective. I'm not dead, and it's not my house. I still have a roof over my head. I managed to get through it. It cost me something, but nobody was hurt. And I, you know, my basic needs are still being met. And I guess that's what I'm trying to say. You know, there was a whole town that was, everybody lost their house. You know, maybe they're being taken care of. I don't know what happens in situations like that. And it's not the first time. There's a story, I don't remember where it happened, but in the middle of the night, a dam broke and it took out a whole town, you know? And they didn't see that coming. Maybe they did. I mean, there's a reason why the dam broke, and it was because of either poor construction or poor maintenance, something like that. But you know, sometimes there's warning signs, sometimes there's not. Sometimes we just don't pay attention. But things happen anyway. You know, acts of God or acts of negligence or just dumb luck, you know. But there's always a bright side to it. Even if it's just somebody coming along and saying, I'm so sorry, if there's anything you need, let me know. Or I was praying for you, so we have to look for the good in everything, even if it hurts. And I'm telling you, this is hard. I'm not telling you blithely to just look at things, because sometimes it's real hard to look at something and say, all right, where's the good in this? I know that. I'm not dismissing something. I mean, because like I said, those people lost a whole town disappeared the same day that a tree limb fell on my car. You know, and I don't know what they're going through other than not having a place to live. But we want to keep it in perspective, and we want to be compassionate toward other people, because people are compassionate towards us sometimes, you know. We need to return that. And I know there's some of you that feel like, well, nobody cares about me. There's somebody somewhere that does. There's somebody somewhere that does. You just have to find your people, or have to look, you know. When Janice, you know, my friend Janice, I talk about once in a while, it's her house. We were out there cleaning up the mess, and this limb was huge. It's, you know, when a limb falls out of a big tree, when they get down on the ground, they're pretty dang big. They look like trees themselves, some of them. And this tree limb was old. It was covered with moss and lichen. And in the moss, little ferns were growing. We're cutting this thing up, trying to get it out of the way and clean up the mess. And here's these little ferns growing on the branch. And I thought, you know, all this time that tree branch was up there, nobody knew these little ferns were there. It was like this little tiny paradise on this tree limb that came down and bashed my car. But, you know, it's something to look at, and how sweet that was. That this little fern, which is going to die now, but anyway, was growing on this tree limb above my head, and I didn't even know it. Anyway, my message may not be that great today. I'm sorry about that, but I hope that you can see it, because I know that times get tough. I do. Believe me, I've had mine too. But life is still valuable, and there's always something. There's always a tiny little nugget in there that we need to hold on to for hope, just to get through the day sometimes, you know. And that's what I'm trying to give you. So I hope y'all are doing okay. And I'm okay. Obviously, I'm driving. I'm on my way to my cleaning job today. And I will talk to you again.